Physical aggression is a topic that's really tough for parents because they watch their kids hurt each other, and that's really difficult. So we want to quick get to solutions, but before we can do that, it's really important to step back and ask, what's going on? That's an important question before we ask, what should I do? And as we consider what's going on, we have to understand people aren't aggressive unless they're up in fight or flight. And either fight or flight means that person is in high anxiety. So you can know that an aggressive child is a frightened child. And there's beliefs driving this emotion of fear that is really helpful to understand. And the first one is the child believes the world is against me. And that just drives that fear. I have to protect myself, or I have to make sure justice happens because nobody's on my side. Another one is, if I don't get this thing that I want, I can't cope. And maybe that new toy is what they really feel is going to keep them sane. And so hitting is their only option to get it because they know they're not going to get it otherwise. So it also helps us to think, what's going on in the parent as well? What is the parent believing? If we go enter a situation just believing, oh, here we go again, I knew it, or this child is just selfish and mean, our facial expression is going to communicate that. And the message our child gets will be, I am against you, which validates his fear that the world is against me. And it makes everything worse. But we can stop and enter this conflict with a belief of my child is struggling. Both my kids are struggling and need my help. And that will help to decrease the fear that drives that physical aggression. So let's address another question of what can I do proactively to prevent aggression? And obviously an important thing is to just weave throughout your day those messages of I'm for everyone here, not against you. We're on a safety team together to help each other stay safe. And you're part of that team, even if you're struggling a little bit here and there. A second important thing to do is to equip kids with words, because research shows that kids that are able to articulate their feelings accurately and then use words to problem solve a situation are much less likely to be aggressive. And we've seen this hold true in the families we've worked with. A mom wrote and said, boy, I had one daughter that was really aggressive, but I worked to make things safe for her. And she started to open up and share her difficult feelings. And she became the least aggressive of the two of them. It was an amazing transformation to watch. So we've got some resources for you that will help you. There's a poster on our website that has lots of kids' faces that you can help your kids relate to those feelings. And on the back, there's activities. It's a classroom poster, but you can easily do the same activities in your home. And it's an awesome tool for helping kids learn to understand emotions. Then we've got another book that we link to that's an awesome book that's been written called You Are a Social Detective, and it helps kids learn to understand other kids' feelings. And then another important thing to help kids with is help them to identify and regulate their energy level, their anger levels, kind of their feelings. Pay attention to what's going on in their feelings and regulate that. And again, there's a link to a great program, zonesofregulation.com, and another one, alertprogram.com. And as you model this skill and help kids tune into, wow, am I starting to get upset? I'm getting a little frustrated and a little worried. When they can sense that, then they can get help before they get up to that fight or flight and when they're just kind of beyond the ability to really control themselves well. So this tuning into energy level is really an important skill for kids as well. But what can we do on those days when you sort of sense trouble is brewing and your child is just having an off day? One thing is to be prepared and know ahead of time what situations are going to trigger that aggression. Watch for mood changes. Know when you maybe either need to separate or soothe your child or add a little fun connection to kind of redirect things. You might say in the car on the way home from school, you know, after school is a tough time for everybody and you guys seem stressed today. So where's a separate spot for each of you that you're going to go as soon as we get into the house that you can just calm down by yourselves for a while and relax, and ask them that question to prevent the aggression. And then notice when your child is ramping up and is maybe just about to deliver that 1-2 punch. Do what you can to counteract it's me against you or it's the world against you. And so some parents might have success yelling across the room, at their fist-raised child, "Stop!" But a lot of times that just makes them think, "What? Stop? No, you're against me. I'm going to hit my sibling." So it may work better for you to say something like, "Wow, you're upset, but you're keeping people safe because they haven't hit them yet. Good job." And a mom of a child that was really struggling with biting had read everything that she could on the subject and finally came to me desperate. And I threw that out as a suggestion, and she internally went, "Yeah, that's not going to work." But she did. She tried that, and when she saw her son start to get really tense and knew that bite was imminent, she would just say, "You're having a hard time. You want to bite, but you didn't. Good work. Good job." And that really was what empowered him to kind of get past that habit. So intercepting it with some empathy or some encouragement can short circuit that need to be aggressive out of the feeling of everyone's against me. But despite our best proactive efforts, aggression is still going to happen, and again, because it takes a long time for kids to really learn to outgrow this. So we can think through the peace plan again and just revisit that briefly to show how it's maybe adapted just a bit in this scenario. And the first thing is to really consciously calm yourself with a strong empathy statement for both kids. "This is really hard. This is frustrating. Both of you guys are so upset." And then put your attention to comfort the child that's been hurt. This gives the child that's aggressive a chance to realize and let soak in the natural impact of what they've done. They're not receiving your immediate, "That is not okay. Why do you keep doing this?" It calms their brain down so that they can watch you comfort the child and begin to maybe even kind of step into that. Occasionally, Daniel would then even try to comfort Bethany as we just held her and said, "Daniel, do you want to help us?" That helps him be part of the safety team when he steps in to comfort a child as well. Maybe they're not ready for it, but it's a possibility that was really helpful in our home. And then you move on to the understand piece. And this is where it's really important not to shame the aggressive child, but to ask thoughtful questions, maybe even tell some stories that would help them to relate to what just happened. Anything but lecturing or shaming them, because that will short circuit the whole process. So encouraging that understanding with a calm, "I'm for both of you" heart. And then holding them accountable to solve it, of course, and guiding your child to make right with their hands what they made wrong with their hands as well. When kids work through to that point, it really is something to celebrate, and it's so important for these aggressive kids to begin to build an identity around, "I'm a problem solver, I'm a reconciler, I can make things right when I make big mistakes." And that brings the gospel alive in the midst of these situations as we bring grace and forgiveness to our kids.